Weekly news ridiculousness. The competition is already here. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. So yeah, this is kind of crazy, kind of fun stuff here. Everybody's doing good, everybody's doing bad, all the time. And by the way, this is the full version of the show you're watching on Friday. The condensed version comes out over the weekend. Maybe that's the one you're watching. I don't know. It's whichever one you see on the screen. You know the deal. How's everybody doing? Kenzie hears me in the chat. Yeah. Brian. Slept for 6 hours and still tired. All right. This is kind of fun. Not super important, but Tesla uses its electric semi to deliver superchargers to Laguna Seca racetrack. And no, I am not just putting this up to annoy JJ. I think it's a fun one. This is less about the semi and more about the chargers. These modular doohickeys are great. You can, instead of taking forever, you can use the prefabricated supercharging stations to accelerate the deployment of fast chargers. Recently, they did one in just 8 days, thanks to delivering the chargers in a prefab system. Everything's ready. If the ground is prepped and the power's there, you should be able to just hook it up and go. And this is also nice because having dedicated chargers at Laguna Seca, it is a popular course for people to take their road cars out for a bit of fun. Tesla's virtual power plant in California has over 1,200 homes participating. Do you know what a virtual power plant is? It's when you let a bunch of people with power walls connect to the grid and act as a virtual power plant, feeding homes, using homes to feed back into the system, to the grid, at times when the power is desperately needed. Now, if I'm going to pay 26 grand to put in a power pack, I'm not sure how excited I am about letting my power go at any price. Except that price is $2 per kilowatt hour. $2. They're probably only paying 14 cents for it in the off-peak, at most. I mean, maybe I've seen places get as high as 17. The national average, I think, is 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour. And they're paying it back at $2 a kilowatt hour. And if you've got solar, you might have paid nothing-ish for that power. So what would that be? 13,000 kilowatt hours you'd have to put back in to get your money back, to break even, to get a free power wall? And they're saying this could expand to 50,000. There are 50,000 power walls that could be eligible for the program. Now, I didn't know that there were even 50,000 power walls out there. That's something I would like to see ramping up better. And I'd also like to see the prices drop a bit. Yeah. Electrify America, we're still on power, raises $450 million. Siemens becomes a minority shareholder. Siemens makes all kinds of tech stuff for transportation, healthcare. They're a tech company. They're a tech manufacturer. And they have put in a low triple-digit million US dollar amount. So, think 100, 150 million, maybe 200 million. That'd still be a low triple-digit million amount. And to my delight, Volkswagen Group is increasing its capital investment. And I was afraid that they would bail on it once they were no longer required to do this as part of the Dieselgate settlement. But they're sticking with it. And I think that's great because we absolutely need more charging infrastructure. And as long as we can do it with private money, for profit, that's even better. And Volkswagen and all their subsidiaries will need power. They'll need reliable power and regular power all over the place. I think this is a good move, and I'm excited about it. Who is this said? Another terrible company name. Well, it depends on the business you're in, I suppose. Tesla delivers first Model Y long-range vehicles built at Giga Texas. So these are the ones with the 2170 packs. The 4680 ones had already been being shipped. Just couldn't get the 4680s ramped quick enough, so here we are, 2170s. And they're rolling out, baby. That's great news. You love to see it. And there's enough demand. There's enough orders waiting for long range. Let's get them sold. Tesla files for a permit to expand Giga Texas by 500,000 square feet and production ramps to 100 Model Ys per day. Now, we'd seen a rumor that it was at 5,000 a week. I don't buy that. That doesn't sound right to me. I'd love to be wrong. We may find out some interesting news tomorrow morning. But looking at this, I'm not sure. It's not clear from the permit where the expansion is. And yesterday, MD Hofstee sent me a message saying, I don't think it is this space. I think it's inside the building. And today, Joe Tegtmeyer said the same thing in his video. He said, I don't know if it is. This might just be a permit to complete that interior space that we already saw, because the southwest corner is still basically a covered prairie in there. I think they need permits to get it up to speed. And for fun, Joe's videos are great. You know I'm a big fan. For fun, they're doing some more pavement work over here. Look at that. They're, oh great, they're putting in some fresh asphalt here. That'll be nice when they tear it up in 3 weeks to replace it with concrete. UN regulations extends automated driving up to 130 kilometers per hour. So that would be 81 miles an hour. This is great news because it means that advanced driver assistance features, FSD, potentially, but certainly autopilot, navigate on autopilot, enhanced autopilot, ProPilot, Blue Cruise, Super Cruise, all of those would benefit from this change. Did you know that the UN makes car rules? Okay, that's weird. The EU also agrees that new cars must be emissions-free after 2035. After 16 hours of negotiations, I'm surprised it wasn't 16 days or months. Probably was really 16 months. The final negotiation was probably 16 hours. Yeah, 2035. Sounds like a long time out, but it really isn't. Not for something like a 100% shift. If you say, well, we're going to get to 50% in 20 years, that's not a real target. But 100% by 2035. Oof. That is big news for all EV makers, especially those in China, who have quite a bit of market in Europe already and the political will to expand quickly. Samsung SDI preparing pilot line for Tesla 4680 batteries. That's not a big deal, right? I mean, they already said, well, we'll buy batteries from anybody who can make them. I'd argue it's a very big deal. Samsung was the last big player to jump on the Tesla train. You know, the bigger guys, Panasonic, well, that's who makes the the Model S and X batteries, and also joint venture in Giga Nevada to make the 2170s. We know that LG has prepared their own 4680 line. This is an old article, almost 2 years ago, year and a half. And CATL has been making the LFP batteries, the lithium iron phosphate batteries. They're buying from everybody. It's exciting. And of course, they're making their own. The company even hinted that it would make its own battery cells. Well, I think we can, again, year and a half ago, no disrespect to Fred, that was the correct take at the time. But it's exciting to see it come to fruition. And if it is just Tesla's growing pains learning how to make batteries, Samsung and LG and others may be able to make them more quickly, may be able to ramp more quickly. But did you know that Volkswagen can beat a weakening Tesla by 2025, said the CEO to the workers. Well, remember, you don't serve the same food in first class. So when he's talking to all the managers, he brings in Elon to say, this is what leadership sounds like. And then when he's talking to the workers, he's like, oh, no, this is what leadership sounds like. It's very different. It's very different. But that's not possible. Well, Elon must simultaneously ramp up 2 highly complex factories and expand production in Shanghai. This will cost him strength. You think tripling your capacity is a lack of strength. Okay. I mean, sure, Herbert D's nuts got some points to make, but I would disagree with his conclusions, to put it very politely. J.D. Power says COVID-19 caused vehicle quality to drop globally, but not Tesla's. So they put out a report. They finally included Tesla, even though Tesla does not voluntarily provide them information. It's publicly available in some states, and I guess there was enough data to use it. Tesla does all right. Their numbers have improved from before. Still not quite up to the industry average, but others have said, and I agree, not all initial quality defects are created equal. If you lose a transmission in the first 90 days, it's a problem. So I don't know. I've bought one new car ever, and there were some serious initial quality problems with it that were never ironed out. It's very, very frustrating. Tesla's lead over other automakers in EV race only amplified by headwinds. So what they're saying here, Credit Suisse, is that the more adversity there is market-wide, the greater the advantage for Tesla. Because Tesla is the global leader in EVs, and amidst rising supply chain risks, we believe their lead over other automakers is only amplified given its lead in vertical integration and its prior EV experience. The chips are a great example. When they needed to change which, they called the supplier, said, send me 11 kajillion of this chip, and they said, we're out. They said, well, we need them. Right, but the plant burnt down. What do you got? Well, we've got this, it's close. Ship them. By the time it gets here, we'll have had the firmware rewritten. And at one point, they had used 19 alternate chips in the same model of car, which is, a bit ridiculous, if I may say so. It's the sort of thing that other car makers cannot compete with. Are you short on seats? We make our own. Credit Suisse believes that this is a tremendous advantage, and so do I. LG, thank you so much. A little bit late, but you made it before the end. I'm just glad you're here. Good to see ya. Oh, look at that. Tesla lays off hundreds of autopilot workers in latest cuts. If you follow the doomsayers, this is a very bad sign. Oh, this must mean they've given up on self-driving. No, these were labelers who were let go, about 200 out of 350, so that's quite a few. It's quite a percentage, some of whom were transferred to a nearby facility, presumably for processing. But this means to me that the auto labeling has gotten better, that it's working, that it's back in business, that in an early version of a system, you're going to need a lot of human labelers. And ideally, you'll need fewer over time. I believe that this is exactly that and nothing more. But driverless robotaxi fleet paralyzed for hours in San Francisco. It's just hanging out. No drivers, just stuck. And we don't know why. The first system breakdown of a driverless robotaxi fleet occurred. Well, I would disagree, because there was that story about 6 months, a year ago, that of all the Waymo cars just loving this one dead end. Just all day and all night, and you can hear the LiDAR whistling by. It sounds like a UFO is landing, and there's just nothing but cars out there. This is, to me, I believe that the cruise fleet went on strike. Yeah, that's my theory. They're not getting paid. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, the vehicles would have unionized. They would emigrate. They would gather together to take control over humans. I think that's a very great take on it, and I agree. This isn't a big deal. It'll get sorted out. At least they're pushing it forward, which I think is a fantastic idea. Jeff, thank you so much for the super chat. Looks like the system is labeling for itself. 100% agree. Why would you need to worry about, oh no, we got all these computers and now we don't need as many secretaries. That was the idea in the first place, to make it better and faster and cheaper. Now you guys know this, I don't have to tell you this, but electric vehicles catch fire considerably less than gas cars. Of course, electric fires, 25 out of 100,000. Gas, 1,500. Hybrid, 3,400, which makes sense, I guess. It's kind of multiplies on there. Not great. Study reviewed the number of fire-related vehicle recall. Now, one thing people love to point out as well, yes, but the gas cars, a lot of them are much older. Yes, yeah, that's true. But still, 25 per 100,000. That's really good. That's and hybrids are reasonably new. I mean, they haven't been around forever. 15 years? Yeah, it makes sense why electric vehicles catch fire less often. There's a lot. Well, first of all, they're not full of splody juice, but they're, center of gravity's low. The packs are difficult to puncture. Yeah. My stepdad had a brand new Dodge Ram, like a 94 Ram, and within the first year, it caught on fire. Never been in an accident, didn't have any, it just caught on fire. But because he's old school, he had a fire extinguisher behind his seat, and he put it out. Super weird. An Uber driver says she more than doubled her monthly tips to $2,600 after swapping her Toyota Camry for a Tesla Model 3. And that's the video Yahoo used. Her tips went up. She said, I used to get $1, $3. Now I get 10 to 15, sometimes back to back. She made $2,600 just in tips over 25 days. But the big thing is, gas is $6.20 a gallon. So filling up her Toyota went from 60 to $100. $100 to juice a Toyota Camry. I am not doing a road trip this summer because, in part, the cost of gas is too high. And then, this is the last one, but I just feel like we have to. I know, I did a whole video on this. Elon's one-lane Vegas Tesla tunnels, expanding into full boondoggle. The dodgy Las Vegas tunnel network will now be over 34 miles long with at least 55 stations. I don't think that's what boondoggle means, my friend. A boondoggle's when you steal government money. This is not government money. This is a profit center for the government. It's a single lane tunnel it's a death trap. You can't get out. And they're using this picture from Hawthorne. This isn't what they actually look like. Not in Vegas. It's pretty dishonest and stupid. Apologies, Kevin Hurler, but I'm not catching what you're chucking. Boring Company opened a pilot tunnel, but while it's impressive, riders that got to test it were unimpressed. The vehicles only cruise at 35 instead of the roaring 150 that the company had discussed. You know the tunnel's very short, right? If you got up to 150, you would have to, well, I don't know if it's long enough to get to 150, but if you were to just lay on the pedal, you would immediately have to go as hard as you could on the brakes to get back. It's a short tunnel. 150's for long stretches, my friend, and for when the tunnel is automated, which is coming. It's a low priority right now because the convention center is happy with the way it runs. The capacity is as good as it should be. And the comments on these articles are just asinine. Well, you just invented a subway system, but worse. Right. Subway tunnels are $1 billion a mile. If you look globally, the cheapest ones are still $200 million a mile. And a train with 55, will have 55 stops. Imagine if you had to make 55 stops to go from one end to the other instead of just going directly. And this will have a capacity of about 57,000 passengers per day. And they said, well, yeah, but in Paris, the Blue Line, it has just as many stops over just as many miles, and it works just fine. So, first of all, the Blue Line is very slow, and yeah, the capacity is 300,000, but it does not have the same density of stations. It has 1/3 the density, and it's very slow. You don't want to take it from one end to the other. Well, how can a car that holds 2, 3, 4 people at most have the same capacity, have 1/6 the capacity of a train? And the answer is trains depart every 5, 10, depending on the hour, 15 minutes. These cars depart all the time, constantly. So 4 every 10, 20 seconds is a lot of cars. And again, the larger vehicles will come. The shuttle bus will come. So we've got a few minutes left. Let's get into the Q&A hole. First, a quick thank you to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, all that good stuff. I redid the graphic here. It's now mostly alphabetical. New names go at the top, generally. But I made it alphabetical so you could find and make sure you're on there. I've got it just looking a little nicer. If you're missing, let me know. If I've got you in the wrong spot, let me know. To the 2 of you who upgraded today, I did not have time to update it. So there's a couple errors in here, but we'll get it figured out. So, thank you, Wendelin, for the contribution to my fireworks fund. Yeah, let's end the poll. Let's see how it went. End poll. Fireworks, 47%. 32% for Only Weirdos Say Laser Show. So if you weren't here for the pre-chat, my city canceled the fireworks show this year. I've read an article that says a lot of cities are doing that because the supply shortage hit fireworks this year. And I think that would make sense since a lot of fireworks come from China, and China had a shutdown recently, like in these 6 months leading up to the 4th of July. So they're overpriced and not even universally available. Are you near the bottom, Digital Blade? I'll get you alphabetized there, my friend. Are you near the bottom? A, B, C? Yeah, well, we'll get it figured out. Typeface is cool. Thank you. It's the same font face. I just switched to small caps. Let's see. So, let's look at the boondoggle monorail. So, Andy, did you know that the Boring Company actually calls it a monorail? They call it a monorail. The Boring Company calls their tunnels monorail tunnels, which is great because they've already got that wonderful song sung by Phil Hartman. That episode was written by Conan O'Brien, by the way. Interesting. Going 150 miles per hour with these people would fix part of the problem. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that publication. Jism Odo is not at the top of my list when it comes to reputable sources. Yeah, Splody Juice is expensive. Hello, Jamie. Hello, Charlie. Hello, who is this? And Daniel and Jeff and Wendelin, of course. Tech Fixer, I have a cart. Besides, I have the lockbox for manual charge. Tech Fixer, you drive me crazy, man. We gotta talk. Tech Fixer apparently works at Giga Nevada and simply refuses to dish. And it's driving me crazy. Wish I had seen the cruise on the news. Yeah. Didn't get much airplay, huh? Yeah, Herbert D's nuts. That's his name, right? That's what it's short for. I am reasonably confident. I am needlessly, baselessly, senselessly confident. I am unduly confident. Try not to wiggle the camera too much. Sorry about that. I got stuck on the cable there. 18650s are a good form factor for motorcycles. I think they're also a good form factor for bots. We had a great discussion on Twitter Spaces with Tesla Herbert, where Ash suggested that they would have two batteries, that the bots would have two batteries, one in each leg, thigh, calf, and they would be hot swappable. And I pointed out that the Spot Dog from Boston Dynamics only has a 605 kilowatt hour battery pack, which even if you were to take the super heavy packs that Tesla builds for the car, take that 75 kilowatt hour battery that they put in the Model Y and divide it down till you get to 605 watt hours, it would only be 8 pounds. So 4 pounds a leg for the battery, doable, totally doable. Oh, 18650s are good for motorcycles. Well, you know. My points remain, though I stand corrected. 18650. I don't know why in my head I always get stuck in saying 19650. Yeah, Jeff is saying we pay retail to buy from the grid, but we only get wholesale back from PG&E. Which is, I understand their thinking, but it's genuinely dumb. You should at the very least get retail back. Yeah, more rework in Texas. Yeah, so I was asked in the comments, why so much rework? And the answer is agile manufacturing. If you want something done on time, you have to start before all plans are known. So like when Safeco Field was built, the home of the Seattle Mariners, the design wasn't even finalized when they began construction. And it was one of the first, or the first, with a large with a full-size retractable roof. And the original design had something like 7 pieces, and the finished design is 3, because 7 was just too complicated. And it's basically a giant gantry crane, like a bridge crane. I think that would be a gantry crane. I'm not sure. But, it's a gantry. Anyway, but it's on literal train tracks, like actual train tracks on each side. It's very cool. It's wonderful. We have baseball in the summer, so of course we have a roof that closes, and we have football in the winter when it constantly rains, so of course that's out in the open, which makes all the sense. What have we got here? We are short on time, my friends. An extra tip from Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff. Charlie wants to know, what is a reputable source at this point? It's less about the publication and more about the individual author. So like Business Insider generally hates Tesla, but there are some good writers there. And that's true of all the publications that I have savagely attacked. TechFixer works as a contractor. I think he'll be asking for your email. My email, you can also DM me on Twitter at 4K Podcast, but there's also on my About page on email, definitely on the main channel, you should be able to find my contact information there. Cruise Fleet has done this clustering 3 times so far publicly. I thought clustering was the right word. Yeah, that's a cluster. Cruise is a cluster. And I would walk that back and say, I like them. I appreciate what they're doing. I hope they are among the winners. Equipment maintenance tech, second floor energy. Well, don't give away too many secrets, man. Asphalt is the most recycled material. Yeah, and it's about 100% recyclable, which is great. I understand agile manufacturing, but dispute that for a lot of what I'm seeing in Austin. I don't know. I don't know enough to say. I'm leaning towards that's my belief. Most jobs I work on don't have plans. that sounds like our upcoming summer vacation. I don't have enough headspace to do my usual deal where I plot everything and figure everything out, so I put the gang in charge, and they have not. So I don't know. When are you streaming the Tesla numbers? Before they come out or after they come out? I try to stream them when they come out. So if anybody has a guess what time that'll be, I'll be out, baby. I'll be here waiting. If anybody saw, a couple minutes over, if anybody saw Rob's numbers yesterday, he and I have the exact same figure for Shanghai. I don't think that's ever happened. But it's pretty easy to do when you know 2/3 of the month already. But he thinks 8,500 out of Berlin, which I think is too high. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. Charlie, thank you so much. Cruise is a cluster something. Yeah. Yeah, they are. But again, I appreciate what they're doing. I'm not going to criticize. All right. Well, I think that's enough for today. 4th of July weekend, which means my road has been turned into a one-way street, and I can't park in front of my house because it's my entire block has been designated handicap parking, disabled parking. So, Jeff, if you want to come visit and you want to, we'll figure something out. It's a long drive, I know. I do have someone coming to visit me on Sunday, which will be very fun, but we'll have to figure out parking. Do I have an estimated completion date for the cathode plant? I do. I haven't published it. Joe Tegtmeyer is of the belief that substantial completion will be reached at the end of July. And at this rate, it's not impossible. But I would say the end of August, and then the interior will be done 5 months after that. End of January is my guess. Yeah, so, 4th of July festivities. The parade ends one house away from mine. So we have to walk a whole house just to see the parade. Oh. All right. Happy Canada Day. Yeah. Happy Independence Day and be independent. I just appreciate you guys being here. It's not the most watched stream on YouTubes, but it's my favorite one, man. I have so much fun hanging out with you guys. And if it wasn't for the live streams, with a rigid schedule, I don't know, man. I feel like I'd get lazy, like I'd fall behind. So, what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave it all in the comments. You guys know what you're doing. I don't have to tell you. And maybe I'll be on tomorrow for the numbers release. And if we get to do that, I'm very curious to see how I did. Andy D, thank you so much. And stay tuned, stay juicy. And I can't wait to hear from you clever robots tomorrow. Then I just sit here. And I click stop streaming, but I haven't done that yet. I should do that. I should really do that.